how soil studies can lead us to a more sustainable world. Today, we are excited to introduce you to a very interesting project led by Tamara Munkemuller, a dedicated researcher and her lab. As part of our interview series, we had the unique opportunity to meet this passionate scientist who is working on the Alpage Volant project. This ambitious initiative aims to study the evolution of alpine ecosystems in the face of global warming. Get ready to explore the behind the scenes and the aims of a lab, the Laboratoire d'écologie alpine.
Hello, I'm Tamara Munkemuller. I work as a CNRS, the French Center for Research. And I work here in Grenoble in the LECA, Laboratoire d'écologie alpine. That means we are looking at alpine ecology. Well, one of my projects is to look at effects of warming on the meadows that we have in the Alpine. And the idea is to understand how everything, like the plants, the soil, the organisms that live in the soil, the processes that are happening in the soil, how all this is affected by the global warming that we are feeling at the moment. I did an experiment. So the idea of an experiment is that we are not just going and observing, but we actually change something. In my case, I changed the temperature in order to then look at the effect of that. So what we did is we went in the Alps, close to the Lauteret Alpine Station. We took out meadows of soil together with the plants, and we transplanted everything 500 meters down the mountain. 500 meters down, that means it is warmer, we have less snow in spring, we have sometimes more drought. So I'm not directly studying how we could have a more sustainable world, but what I'm studying is to see it if climate change is not stopped, how this will affect on the one hand biodiversity of plants and the soil, and on the other hand of the processes of the fluxes in the soil, for example, soil fertility. So we look at plants and soil. So for the plants, we look at which species are there, how they're behaving over the year, at what time they get out of the soil, when do they do their seeds. And for the soil, what we look at, for example, nitrogen content, carbon content in the soil. We look at how the organisms in the soil are developing. Well, I think that we are already damaging a lot with just the climate change that, well, first of all, we should try to slow down. But then I think it's very important that we make sure that we have better networks of conservation areas, because it's always, or in most cases, we have negative interaction effects between climate change, land use changes, human pressure. So if at least we would have a bit more space for species where they're preserved, I think this would slow down the extinction that we are expecting. Well, I think it's very important to preserve biodiversity. I think it's something that would be just too sad if the next generations would just live with a few species. And beyond, I think we need a lot of species for processes that are ongoing and important for us, that we are maybe not fully aware of, that we would really feel it if we would not have these processes anymore. So I think it's the climate that we need to preserve, or that we need to make sure that the climate warming is not too much accelerating, but we also need biodiversity.
Tamara Munkemuller is a German researcher. She works with her team on Alpage Volant. She is looking at soils and plants and carbon content to see how they evolve with the climate change. They make, with their results, some simulation models and projections to see how the ecosystem will adapt with the global warming. She communicates a lot their results, but not enough for her. She said a lot of things to slow the global warming, like don't using herbicides, for example.